Yes, I'm going to share my screen. We are discussing about the principles of economics, right? Yes. So, what I can remember, we have discussed already about principle 7, right? That is
Yes, ma'am.
discussed. Yes. So, we are with three more principles. So, these are under the heading of how the economy as a whole works. Okay. That means, first of all, we are discussing about how an individual is taking decision. That was the first heading. Under the second heading, we have discussed how the individuals are interacting. What are the logic? What are the economic logic behind those interaction? How they can interact better, whether they need any intervention or not. So these have been discussed. Now here, this is the last one where we are discussing about the economy. So we are actually coming from the micro to macro view. Okay, so now in the economy you can understand a lot of people are there, so how they are interacting, how the economy as a whole will function. So there are three principles behind this. The first one is principle 8, that is the country's standard of living depends on the ability to produce. It's quite natural. If you cannot produce, then you cannot earn. Okay, so it's very simple actually. If you are more productive in your workplace, that means you are making more production, so your wage will be higher, and that means your income is higher. Once your income is higher, your disposable income is also higher. Do you know what is disposable income?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, disposable
Uh,
income means,
Income after paying tax.
yes, income minus tax. Okay, that means you have to pay the tax. So after paying the tax, whatever income you have in your hand, that you can spend, you can save, so you can do anything with this part of your income. So this is called the disposable income, which you can dispose. So if your income is high, then your disposable income is also high. And if your disposable income is high, that means you can spend more. And if you spend more, your standard of living will automatically increase. Okay. So in a country where the laborers are more productive, the standard of living of that economy is relatively high. Okay. That you can see if you go through different parts of India. So you can see in general the productivity varies across different states of India. So the people where the states where the people are more productive, their standard of living is relatively better than the people who are very reluctant to work. There are some regions. Just a minute, someone is trying to enter. Wait for a minute. I'm coming back. Huh? Wait for a minute. Yes. So here, so you can understand what I'm trying to say, that in a state where the peoples are relatively productive, their standard of living is automatically higher than the people who are very much reluctant to work. In some states, if you know, I cannot I am not interested to tell the name of those states. These are in general statement actually. There are some states in India where the people are not so interested to work in general. Exception is always there. But there the standard of living is very poor. Okay, so you can understand a country's standard of living, how the standard of living is depending on your ability to produce. This is true at the individual level and this is true at the country level as well. Okay, so this is the principle 8. It's very simple in that sense. Now comes the principle 8. Okay, principle 8 is something related with the monetary economy. Hmm. Before that, we never thought about the money. Na? We are interacting, we are demanding, we are consuming this and that, but there was no money. Under principle 9, we will have money. And this is the heading, the prices rise when the government prints too much money. Look, we may have demand for money, but we cannot print the money, right? Once you want to, if you are hungry, then you can cook for yourself. But if you need money, you cannot print money with your own. The authority is only for the government. Government can print, basically the central government. They can print the money. Okay? They have the right to print the money. We don't have the right. So here you can understand, if government is printing money, say in the economy is going under the deficit. You know what is deficit? Deficit means your total expenditure is more than your income. Okay? In economy, it is called the budget deficit in general. Okay? Your total expenditure of the economy is greater than total income or total revenue of the economy. Hmm. So this is called the deficit in general. Now, if there is deficit, that means your expenditure is very high. If you think at your household level, you can understand, if your expenditure is more than your income, there is always a need of money, right? You always need money in that case. Government also. We don't have any solution for that. There we have to ask for government to print money. Hmm. Government also can ask for, he can borrow, he can do this and that, but with all those instruments, another instrument is printing money. Now if government is printing money mm, to to cover up its deficit, and it is a continuous process, then in the market what happens? In the market, the money inflow is continuous, because government is printing money. Then what to do with that money? Government is supplying that money in the economy, government is supplying the money in the market. So once the consumer has more money in their hand, they are demanding more, right? If your income is increasing, you are demanding more. It's like that. So if you have more money in your hand, it's not like that government is making a stall in the market and asking the people that come, I am going to give you money. It's not like that. But they are just increasing the salary. Okay, they are increasing the subsidy. So this is how they can circulate the money. They are just giving the money in the economy. Anyhow, if the people are getting more money, so they are asking for commodity. So there is a continuous increase in demand of the commodity. And you know, if there is more demand given the supply, that for the time being, in the long run that may change, but for the time being the supply is constant, but demand is increasing. So this is called excess demand. Okay, and if there is excess demand, then the price will increase. This is called the invisible hand or the market mechanism that we have discussed already. So if there is excess demand, then price will increase. And if there is a continuous increase in price, this is called inflation. Okay, so in your newspaper, in your daily newspaper, you can see the inflation rate is 7%, inflation rate is 3%. Nowadays in India, inflation rate is very low, but these are like that. But what is inflation? Inflation doesn't mean increase in price level. Inflation means a continuous increase in price level. That continuous should be there. Okay, a continuous increase in price level, that called inflation. Hmm. Now, if there is inflation, you can ask me, well, okay, fine, then this is inflation, then what matter? Yes, it is very important. Look, if there is inflation, that means today the price of the what is inflation? Increase in price level, as I am saying. So, to us, to the general people, it's like that. The price of a commodity is 5 rupees today, and tomorrow it is 7 rupees. For example, okay, so this is inflation to the consumer. The price is increasing. So if price is increasing, what will be the decision of the consumer? They will reduce their consumption, they will reduce their demand, right? They will reduce their demand and so the consumption. So this is something bad for the consumer. Okay, we are the general people, we are thinking that okay, price is increasing every day, so we are not happy with that increase in price. So generally consumers are discouraged when they are watching inflation. On the other hand, this is very much encouraging for the producer. Hmm. Because today the price is 5 rupees, tomorrow the price is 7 rupees. The commodity is same, the price is increasing, so their revenue is increasing. So they are very much happy. Okay. So consumers are not so happy, but producers are happy with the inflation. Okay. So you can say, okay, fine. So if the economy is trying to increase its production, if the economy is trying to develop, so then inflation is okay. Yes, inflation is okay, but to a certain extent. Hmm. To a certain extent, inflation is okay. If there is no inflation, you cannot increase the production of the economy. So the economy is just like a stagnant economy. So this is not good. This is not good. You should encourage your producer, and inflation is one of those instruments. So a bit of inflation is good for the economy. But if there is hyperinflation, if there is double digit inflation, that means the inflation is more than 10, double digit. Okay, so it is more than 10. This is not good, because that will create black market, that will create some uncertainty in the economy. Okay, some what can I say, some speculation. Okay, the speculative market will emerge, and these are not so good for the health of the economy. So a level, to a certain extent, inflation is good, but hyperinflation or double digit inflation, galloping inflation, these are not good for the economy. Okay, so this is all about the inflation. Now when you will tell about the inflation, don't say it is a continuous increase in inflation. No, this is something very silly. Okay, continuous increase in inflation, no, it's a continuous increase in price or inflation. Okay, so you can tell, okay, there is an increase, there is a continuous increase in price in the economy, that is okay. If you are saying that there is an so this is the thing. You may say that there is a continuous increase in price level in the economy, or you can say there is an inflation in the economy. Now you must mention the rate of inflation. It may be 5%, it may be 7%, it may be 20%, it may be 200%. Anything can possible given the situation of the economy, given the situation of the world. But this is inflation. So you can understand, actually there are so many reasons behind the inflation. Printing money is one of those reasons. If there is sudden increase in demand of the commodity, not because of increase in income, but because of some other reason in the economy, suddenly there is a gross increase in demand of the commodities. That also called the inflation. That also caused the inflation. This is called demand pull inflation. It may possible because of the scarcity of resources, because of technological problem, anything. The supply is reduced suddenly in the economy in general. So again, there is excess demand, price will continuously increase, and you will face the inflation because of the lack of supply. This is called supply pull inflation. Okay, cost push inflations, demand push inflation, these are all there. So these are also the reasons behind the inflation, but supplying money by the government is another reason of inflation. Okay, so there is a chapter of monetary economics. This chapter is in SEM 5. So there you will get the details analysis of this. This is a part of the monetary economy. Oh, how it will create demand, how it will create the problem to the supply, how the society will sacrifice because of that, how government will intervene in case of inflation. Everything we will discuss there. Okay, so this is about the principle 9. Tell me any problem with principle 8 and 9 if you have any problem.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can you repeat the supply push inflation which you told?
Yes. No, I am saying that say there is sudden problem of the supply of the production side. That may be the scarcity of raw material. That may be because of the problem of the technology. So anything can possible with the supply side. But because of all that reason, supply may fall. And when supply is falling, given the demand, if your supply is falling, you are again facing the problem of excess demand. Okay, and if there is excess demand, the price mechanism will increasing the price, and if it is a continuous, you will call it an inflation. So inflation may come from that side as well. Okay, this is called supply pull inflation, cost
Oh,
or cost push inflation. So anything can possible. From the demand side, you may get inflation. From the supply side, you may get inflation. From the government side also, you may get inflation. So here we are talking mainly about the government problem. That if government is printing too much of money, how the inflation is coming in the economy. Okay, now
ma'am.
is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, when does the government prints money? When there is a deficit of money in the
Yes.
economy?
That is what I am saying. Na? If the economy's budget is facing deficit, this is I'm not saying that actually what happened. If you go through the Indian data, you can see from the very beginning of our independence, there is deficit in the budget. So does it mean that government is always printing the money to control the deficit? No. There are so many other instruments in the hand of the government through which it can control the deficit, and it is controlling in this way. But printing money is one of those instruments. Okay. Sometimes he is also printing money.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, what about the terms hyperinflation, double-digit inflation, galloping inflation? I can't
No, I
understand this.
said that double digit inflation means when your inflation rate is more than 10. So here comes double digit. Before that, it's 9, 8, 7. So single digit. Huh? So this is
Okay,
called
ma'am.
double digit. So double
Hmm.
digit is not good for the health of the economy. Galloping means it's just gallop. Today is 2, then 4, then 8, like this. Okay. So it's, galloping, jumping sort of thing.
Yes, ma'am. Hmm.
Huh. So this is the thing, and hyper means around 20%. It's there is no such strict uh, value that okay this value is that so it is hyper. But hyperinflation means it's around 20% or more.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Okay.
these are not good actually. If your inflation is around 7 to 8%, that much is allowed. Then after it is not good for the health of the economy. This is from the data. I'm not saying that I'm not the expert in that way, but according to the analysis of several empirical data, economists are saying like this, that 5% to 7% of inflation rate is good for the economy, but if it is more, then it is not good.
Okay,
Excuse
ma'am.
me, ma'am, can you give me some excuse me, ma'am, can you give me some examples how the government control the inflation?
Yes, government can look. Inflation means somehow in the economy there is a lot of money. So you have to take that money from the economy. That is the way to control the inflation. Now there are so many instruments in the hand of government through which he can control it. Hmm. The first one is he can sell government bonds. Simple. Government bonds means you can. There are so many. Sorry, there are so many financial institutions who are selling the government bonds. For example, IDFC, IFCI. So these are the financial industrial financial institutions who are selling their bonds. These are on behalf of the government. For simple, you can purchase NSC from the post office. You know, NSC, Kishan Bikash Patro, Indira Bikash Patro was there. Now it is not. So these are there. These are actually sold by the government. Hmm. Why? Because government is taking money from you. And in exchange of that, he is giving a paper, a certificate to you. Right? So after 5 years, 10 years, 8 years, I don't know the maturity time for each and every paper. So after that time, you will just submit that paper, that certificate to the government office, and then he will give you the money back. So for the time being, when he is giving you the paper and taking money from you, that means today he is taking money from the economy, right? Okay. So if he is taking money from the economy, he is reducing he is reducing the demand from the economy, and the price level will automatically fall. This is one way. Okay, this is one way to control inflation. There is another way, bank rate. You know what is bank rate? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am. The rate which the
Yes.
commercial banks gives loans.
No.
RBI provides loan
Yes.
rate of interest at which RBI provides loan to the commercial banks.
Yes. This is bank rate. Commercial banks means the State Bank, Oriental Bank, Punjab National Bank, Allahabad Bank. These are actually the commercial banks. Okay. So these banks, if they need money from where they will get the money. They will go to the Reserve Bank, that is the Central Bank of India. So they will go to the Reserve Bank and asking the money. Okay. And what to do with that money? They will give it in the economy as a loan. The producers, the industrialists, they are taking loan from those commercial banks. Okay, that is the use of this loan. Now, if the central government is thinking that in the economy the money supply is already very high, then what the Reserve Bank will do? Reserve Bank will charge higher interest from the commercial bank when they will give you the loan. So this is called the bank rate. So if the bank rate is increasing, then commercial banks are discouraged to take loan from the central bank. So commercial banks don't have that much of money to give loan to the economy, to the producer. So producers are taking lesser money, producers are getting lesser money from the commercial bank. So what is the ultimate result? In the economy, money supply is lesser than before. And this is how government can control inflation. Okay, this is the bank. By controlling the bank rate, it is controlling the money supply in the economy. Hmm. There are SLR, CRR, these are also there. So there are so many instruments in the hand of the government. Government can control inflation if they want. Acha, any other question?
Ma'am.
Is it clear that how government can control inflation?
Yes,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then.
Ma'am,
uh,
ma'am, can you explain excess demand?
yeah, excess demand means demand is greater than supply. Simple. Given the price, if the demand in the economy is more than the supply, then it is called excess demand for the economy. This is possible for any of the commodity market. A, B, C, D, A plus B plus C plus D. For any market, excess demand is possible. By definition, it is demand is greater than supply. Excess supply means supply is greater than demand.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, how hyperinflation can bring a market?
Your voice is cracking.
Ma'am, I said that how hyperinflation can black, market and a speculative market in the economy.
No, look, hyperinflation means it's like that. Hyperinflation means you know that today the inflation is 20%, tomorrow the inflation may be more than 20%. We don't know what will happen with tomorrow. Huh? So in that case, what we can do, we can just purchase the share. Hmm. We are purchasing share today and we are thinking that okay, tomorrow the price level will increase, so the share price may increase, I can sell it. So this is the speculation. No? This is the speculation. Now, if the hyperinflation means a lot of inflation for the economy, so that may create a lot of speculation, and once that speculation is significant, then what is happening? Someone is trying to join or anything? Is there anyone? No. Okay. So what will happen that if the people are thinking that tomorrow anything can happen, then today the speculation is very high for any of the commodity. It may be the potato market, it may be the share market, it may be anything. For any of the commodities in the economy, they are just keeping a lot of in their hands so that tomorrow the when price will increase, they can sell it out and get a more revenue. Hmm. So this is called speculation. We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but we are speculating that okay, if yesterday is like this, today is like this, then tomorrow may be like this. So it's better to purchase a lot of commodity today so that when tomorrow price will increase, I can sell it out. Hmm. So what is happening with today? Today there will be a crisis because there are section of people who have purchased a lot. So this is a type of, what can I say? This is a type of storage. What they are doing, so that tomorrow they can sell it at the higher price and will earn more revenue, sort of black market. Okay, so this speculation is there. Now is it clear? So that can be possible with the potato. Potato is a very common example in our today's life.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other question? No question, na? So let me proceed. Principle 10, this is the last principle. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So from last principle, we know what is inflation. So here we are trying to relate that inflation with the unemployment. Hmm. And again, look at the heading. This is a short run. Short run. Short run means a time. Can you tell me the definition of short run, anyone?
Short run is something where the factors of production do not change. It means they remain stagnant. They remain still.
Any other definition? Anyone wants to give the definition?
At least one factor of production does not change.
Yes. That is the thing. If all factors are stagnant, then this is something, this is not a movement. Everything is stagnant. Everything is fixed. So at least one factors of production should be constant. There are so many factors of production. So among all those, at least one factor of production you cannot change. This is a time when at least one factor of production you cannot change as a producer. Okay, that should be fixed. This is called the short run. Now that short run varies. For the clothing area, if you are going to the food production area, if you are going to the industrial, some what can I say, some instrument production area. So short run is different for each of these areas. Okay, but it is a time when at least one factor of production is constant. Okay, so this is called short run. So principle 10 is only valid for that short run. And long run means what? Long run means when all the factors of productions are variable. Okay, you can change any of those factors of production. This is called long run. Now in the short run, there is a trade-off, but trade-off means there is an inverse relation. Okay, trade-off means inverse relation. What is inverse relation? Inverse relation means if one is increasing, another is falling. Okay, direct relation means if one is increasing, another is increasing. If one is decreasing, another is decreasing. So they are going to the same direction. Both variables are going to the same direction. But if there is a trade-off, you can understand what is trade-off from our very first principle. Here the trade-off means if inflation is increasing, unemployment is falling. Okay. So you know what is inflation. Now, if there is inflation, okay, we have to think inflation from some other angle. Look, say in the economy there is inflation. Okay. Now, if there is inflation, as I said, that is something encouraging for the producer in general. If it is not something exceptional, as I said, galloping, double digit, etc., if these are not there, in a stable economy, if there is inflation, so this is very much encouraging for the producer. Okay. So producers are encouraged, they are watching, okay, the price of my commodity is increasing day by day. So I should produce more. Okay. Because if I can sell more, my income will be more. So it's better to sell. It's better to produce more. So once they are trying to produce, just a minute. Yes. If they are trying to produce more, they need more resources. How to produce? You need the raw materials. No? So if you are employing more raw materials, if you are employing more inputs, in economics we are saying it inputs. When we are employing more inputs, one of those inputs is the labor, right? You need labor more, so you have to employ more labor, and if you are employing more labor, unemployment is falling. So this is good in that case with respect to employment. Inflation is good with respect to employment as well. So if there is inflation, producers are producing more. They need more labor to produce. Employment is increasing, so unemployment is falling. Do you get the point? So if inflation is increasing, unemployment is falling. So you can understand the trade-off. One is increasing, another is falling. There is an inverse relation between inflation and unemployment. There is a curve called Phillips curve, which is showing this inflation and unemployment relationship. Fine, but this is only in the short run. In the long run, you cannot get any relationship between inflation and unemployment. Now look, before going to the long run, look what happens in the short run. So you can understand, to reduce unemployment, a good instrument to the government is inflation, right? Once you can successfully make inflation in the economy, you can reduce the unemployment rate. I know this, you know this, so the politicians know this. So what they want, because in India, specifically like India, there is a lot of unemployment, unskilled worker, labor force is huge, the population is very much significant here, right? So in that case, what the politicians are doing, what the government is doing, government is making inflation for the economy. The government is making inflation, government is creating inflation in the economy so that unemployment will fall. And if unemployment is falling, people are very happy that, okay, in my home, my son or my daughter is getting employment. So I'm very happy, right? So this is how they are creating the situation so that they will get the vote. Simple. As it is the short run. So for 5 years, for 10 years, it will work. You are increasing inflation continuously. That means at that 5 or 7% rate, you can making that inflation in that range so that you can reduce the unemployment rate continuously. And that will make people happy and they can stay in the central government or the state government. This is what generally politicians are doing. I'm not saying he is doing this or that party is doing, this party is doing. No, this is in general. Hmm. Generally, the government, the particular any of those political party on behalf of the government, they are doing this. But it is a short run thing. In long run, you will not get that relationship. Long run means a longer time period. If short run is 10 years, then long run maybe 50 years like this. So in the long run, you may not get this relationship because just think you are just increasing inflation continuously. Huh? So unemployment is falling and falling and falling. At a certain time, you will not get any such unemployment rate in the economy. That means the person who is interested to work, remember, the person who is interested to work will get the job. Okay? That person may be skilled worker, the person may be unskilled worker. So that person will get the job. There are so many terminologies behind all those concepts. I'm not going to all those terminology that may make confusion. I'm just telling you the story. Hmm. So in the long run, what will happen? If a person is interested to get a job, he will get the job. But there are some persons who are not interested to enter in the job market. They are interested to stay in home. They are interested to do some other thing, but not in the job market. So they are unemployment as before. They are unemployed as before. Okay. So in the long run, you may increase inflation. You may continue your inflation level, but you cannot reduce that unemployment level because they are not interested to be employed. Hmm. So this is how in the long run, you will not get any relationship between the inflation and unemployment. Is that okay? There are some people who are in your locality, among your relatives, you may get someone who has some degree but he is not interested to do the job. He's just interested to stay in home. Okay, so this is the thing, this is their view. I'm not trying to criticize them, but these peoples are there. This is, I'm just telling you the situation. Okay, I'm just stating you the situation. So they are unemployed. They are skilled worker. They are unemployed. As they are not interested to enter in the market, you cannot reduce that unemployment. Okay. So this is how there is no relationship between inflation and unemployment in the long run.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the short run, say for example, the labor remains variable and capital remains fixed. So in order to increase production, the firm inducts more labor in order to increase production. So after the short run period gets over, when the firm enters into the long run period, it is able to increase production by increasing capital. So ma'am, at that point of time, there would be excess labor and the firm can fire out all those laborers, those who have been inducted 5 years before.
Possible.
It may be the case.
Yes, that may also
Even
be the
if there
case.
is inflation. Even if there is inflation.
Yes, yes. That is true. That is true. That is another reason of no relationship between inflation and unemployment in the long run. Yes.
Okay.
Because of the technological development, you can increase your production level, so you don't need that labor to increase the
Yes,
production.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. This is also
Thank
true.
you, ma'am.
This is also true. Okay. So you can understand why there is a short run relationship and why there is no long run relationship. Now, any other question? Okay. As no question is coming, so I'm just assuming no question. So we have finished 10 principles. Now let me go, as the time is very much limited, as I already said, and I have already missed one of your class on last Friday, I hope. So in that case, I have to continue. So I have finished 10 principles. Huh? From these principles, mainly the questions are coming as definitional question. What is opportunity cost? What do you mean by trade-off? Explain the concept of inflation. What is the relationship between inflation and unemployment? These type of questions are coming in general from 10 principles. There is no such application oriented application. Yes, application may come that, as I said in my last class, that what is the opportunity cost of going to college? You have to explain with your own words. What do you think? You have to explain in this way. Okay. So this basically these type of questions are coming from those 10 principles. One more thing, I just want to know, do you have previous question papers, any model question paper, previous question paper? These are with you or not?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, we don't
No,
have.
ma'am.
No,
No,
ma'am, I
ma'am.
didn't
Okay,
have.
No,
okay,
ma'am.
okay, okay, fine, fine,
No,
fine.
ma'am.
We have. So in that case, just let me finish my first unit. Then I will share the, actually that will be a lengthy process. I have to take the snapshot of the relevant portion from the question paper, and then I will show it to you that which type of questions are there from unit 1. I will try, but let me finish my unit 1 first. Okay, so this is all about principle, 10 principles. So this is actually, I think this is 1.3, unit 1.3, the last part of first unit. Interdependence and the gains from trade. Interdependence is okay sort of thing. No? You know what is interdependency? One person is depending on another person. But what is gains from trade? This is something new. Gains from trade means, look at the last term of this thing, trade. So you know what is trade? Trade means exchange of commodities. You know what is commodity? Okay. Before going to that, let me tell you. Commodity means goods and services. So if you are telling that okay, it is exchange of goods, that means you are not considering exchange of services. But commodity is a broader thing. Under the commodity umbrella, you have goods, you have services. So it's better to say commodity. Okay, it's a broader term. So once you are exchanging the commodities, you are gaining something. You are gaining something. You may be more satisfied, your profit may be increased, you can gain something. So in economics, how to measure that gain? We are going to introduce the concept. Again, I'm telling you, the details discussion is not here. It is again in sem 5. There is an unit, or rather, sorry, there is a paper in sem 5 called International Economics. I will discuss that paper. So there you can understand what is, how to measure the gains. But here we will just introduce what is gains from trade with a simple example. What is gains from trade? Why we are telling that if there is trade, you will gain something. Okay, so that much we will discuss here. Let me go. Yes, this is, look, this is actually this is an example which is available in ManQ. Don't worry, don't try to copy it right now. First of all, I will share that class, you know. Okay. Before that, just tell me, do you get? Are you getting the access of college LMS?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. So you are
Yes,
getting
ma'am.
the, yes. So you are getting the record of the classes now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that is very good. So in that case, don't try to write this table which is visible in front of you right now. This is from ManQ. There is a very good example in ManQ. That is why I am taking it from there. Each and every year I am discussing this. This is an example of two individuals in a society. Say there is a society where there are only two individuals. Okay. One is farmer and the second one is rancher. So what is the function of the farmer? He is farming. He is producing, for example, potato. Okay, he is producing potato. And what is the function of rancher? You know, he is producing meat. Okay, so consider a society. And one more thing, as this is a theoretical paper basically, so a lot of assumptions are there. I am assuming these, I am assuming that. So actually, by assumption, I'm just trying to eliminate all the complications, all the complex situations. I'm just assuming these are not there. So these complications are not in my model. I'm just trying to explain in a simple way so that you can incorporate the complication and you can understand how the deviation will come out. So here is the assumption that in the economy, there are only two individuals. The first one is a farmer and the second one is a rancher. Okay. Now, look at this. Yes. Look at this. This is the minutes needed to make 1 ounce of meat and 1 ounce of potato. That means a single labor. Okay, there is another assumption. Okay, forget that assumption. Leave it. Now look, there is two individual, farmer and rancher. If the farmer and both individual can produce both, that means farmer can produce meat, rancher can produce potato. Whether they are more productive or not, this is something different, but they can. So if the farmer is going to produce meat, then to produce 1 ounce of meat, he needs 60 minutes. Okay. If the farmer is going to produce potato, then to produce 1 ounce of potato, he needs 15 minutes. So you can understand farmer is more productive for potato. Okay, he is taking lesser time to produce 1 ounce of potato than 1 ounce of meat. Okay, so it's 60 minutes, 15 minutes. And for rancher, it's 20 minutes and 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, done. Now look, in that case, rancher is also more productive for potato. Because 20 minutes is greater than 10 minutes. Okay. So this is the example given in your book. Now, what happened to those individuals? Let me just open the book. Yes. Here comes the problem. Look. As I am saying that farmer is more productive for potato production than meat production, there are actually two concepts behind the trade. The first one is absolute advantage, that concept of trade that was introduced by Professor Adam Smith, who is known as father of economics. He introduced the concept of absolute advantage. So according to absolute advantage, the individual, just listen carefully. According to the absolute advantage, one individual should produce the commodity where he is more productive. Okay? Do you get the point? You should produce a commodity where you are more productive. Now for the farmer, look, farmer is more productive for potato because he is taking lesser time to produce same amount of commodity, as 15 is less than 60. So according to absolute advantage, farmer should produce potato. Fine. Now what about rancher? Same story. 10 is less than 20. So according to absolute advantage, rancher should also produce potato because he is more productive for potato production. He should produce more potato. Now what happened? There are two individuals in the society who are producing only potato. There is no one to produce meat. So there is no scope of trade, right? There is no scope of trade. What to exchange? I have potato, you have potato, then what to exchange? There is no one with meat. So no exchange. So according to absolute advantage, if the situation is like this, trade is not possible. If this is the case, then trade is not possible. But in the real life, there is trade. In the real life, there is trade. Look what happens if you just look at those values carefully. You can see, you can see, just look at these values vertically. That 60 is more than 20, hmm, and 15 is more than 10, right? So in general, farmer is less productive than rancher, because for any of the commodities, farmer is taking more time, right? 60 is more than 20, so farmer is taking more time to produce same amount of meat than rancher, and true for the potato as well. 15 is greater than 10, right? So for both the commodities, farmer is taking more time than rancher, so farmer is less productive than rancher. Okay, this is the case of individual level. If you are going to the economy level, that may possible that you are getting two economy. One economy is less productive for all the commodities, and one economy is more productive for all those commodities. And the economy which is less productive are generally called as a less developed economy. Okay, that economy may have some other problem. Maybe the natural calamity problem, may have the problem of war, may have the problem of population pressure, may have the problem of migration. There are a lot of problem behind this story. But whatever be the problem, the economy, that is a farmer economy, the economy which is represented by the farmer is less productive. So that economy is less developed. And the another economy is more developed. Okay, so if the situation is like this for the developed and the less developed economy, you can say, okay, then there is no trade between the developed and the less developed country, because absolute advantage is not explaining, cannot explain the situation. Okay, the more developed country is productive for all the commodities, less developed countries is less productive for all the commodities, so there will be no trade. Okay, tell me if you have any problem with that explanation. Then if you don't have any problem, I will proceed. Do you have any problem with that explanation?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so the story is clear. So according to absolute advantage, according to Adam Smith, if there should not be any trade between the developed and the less developed economy. But what is the reality? There is trade between USA and Nepal. There is trade between Ethiopia and US. So what? Why? It is possible. It is possible, and it is happening actually. It is happening. Nepal, Bhutan, they are very small countries and less productive as well. Hmm. As compared to Japan, as compared to USA, as compared to German. So they are more productive. But there is trade. So that trade cannot be explained by absolute advantage. Then why a developed country is trading with a less developed country? What is the reason behind the trade? Absolute advantage theory, that is that productivity sort of theory, cannot explain this reality. So this is the problem of the absolute advantage. So there comes the comparative advantage. That concept was introduced by David Ricardo. Based on the problem of absolute advantage, the new concept of comparative advantage was introduced by David Ricardo. Okay, so what is comparative advantage? What is the instrument of the comparative advantage? For absolute advantage, the instrument was the productivity. What is the instrument for the comparative advantage? For comparative advantage, the instrument is opportunity cost. It's not productivity, it's the opportunity cost. So what is comparative advantage? Comparative advantage theory is saying the country should produce the commodity where the opportunity cost is least. Is that okay? The country should produce the commodity where the opportunity cost is least. and countries should not produce the commodity where the opportunity cost is more. Okay, so there is no productivity. Look, there is no productivity. You may be more productive, you may be less productive, but you must have some opportunity cost. You may be less productive, you must have the opportunity cost of producing any of the commodities. Similarly, the developed part of the world, they have opportunity cost for each and every production. So you have to compare that opportunity cost. Now look, as there are two commodities only, meat and potato, so you can understand the opportunity of meat production is potato production, and opportunity of potato production is meat production. So that list of opportunities, these are not there. That second best alternative sacrificed is called the opportunity cost. That is actually reduced here. If there is only one opportunity, the second best is the best. There is no third one. So not the second best, sorry, this is the best opportunity which you have sacrificed. So this is the thing of meat and potato. So I think it is clear to you. Now, how to apply that opportunity cost concept or the comparative cost advantage theory here. So as the comparative advantage theory is saying that you have to concentrate on the opportunity cost. So we have to find out the opportunity cost. So what is the opportunity cost of meat production, that we have to find out. So to do that, my next part of the table is showing that if I am giving 8 hours per day, you know, this is the standard working hour per day in the world. So if it is 8 hours per day I'm giving to the farmer, then how much meat the farmer can produce? So 60 minutes for 1 ounce. So 8 into 60 minutes for how much ounce? 60 minutes means 1 hour. Okay. So 1 hour for 1 ounce. So 8 hours for 8 ounce. So if I am giving 8 hours to the farmer, he can produce 8 ounces of meat. If I am giving 8 hours to the farmer to produce potato, then he can produce 32. It's very simple. The unitary method, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 1 ounce. So 1 minute, 1 by 15 ounce, 8 into 60 minutes. So 1 into 8 into 60 divided by 15. Okay, so then you will get 32. So if I am giving 8 hours to the farmer can produce 32 ounces of potato. Similarly, for rancher, it is 24 and 48. Okay. So you can understand again in terms of production as well, the rancher is producing more. 24 is greater than 8, 48 is greater than 32. This is quite possible because rancher is more productive. He is the representative of the developed part of the world. So this is the thing for 8 hours. Is that slide clear? Then I will go to the next one. Is it okay for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to the next slide. So just remember this part, 8 hours, these amounts. Okay. This is a diagram, the very first diagram in our microeconomics class. So before explaining that diagram, I just want to tell you, generally we are drawing in a two-dimensional space because our paper is two-dimensional. No? So there are two axes. One is x-axis, which is parallel to the horizontal, is like this. And there is one y-axis is like this. So we are measuring one commodity here. As there are two commodities in our hand, the potato is here. You can draw meat here as well, no issue. But another commodity in the vertical axis. I just want to tell you one thing, as this is very first diagram in your class, micro class. I just want to tell you one thing. When you will draw any such diagram, you have to mention what you are measuring along the axis. Okay, here I am writing potato, here I have written meat. It's like that. You have to write what you are measuring, otherwise you will get a negative marking. Hmm. Your diagram may be all right, your explanation may be superb, but as you are not mentioning what you are measuring here or here, you will get negative marking. So remember this thing. So here I am measuring potato on the horizontal axis. You can measure meat on the horizontal axis. That is not important here. And meat on the vertical axis. Okay. Now look, as I said, that if 8 hours is spent for potato production, then the farmer can produce 32 ounce. And if he will spend 8 hours for the meat production, this is 8 ounce. So this is the maximum meat he can produce. And this is the maximum potato he can produce. Okay. He cannot produce more than 32 because he will not get time more than 8 hours. Similarly, 8 is the maximum. So 32 as potato on the horizontal axis, this is the 32 and this is 8. Okay, so if I join 8 and 32 by a straight line, that yellow line is showing the production combination of meat and potato for the farmer. He can produce here, he can produce here, anyone, anywhere on the yellow line. Okay, that is a combination of potato and meat. If he will spend 6 hours for meat production and remaining 2 hours for potato production, he may be here. He may be here anywhere, but he must be on that yellow line. Okay, if that 8 hours is fixed. So this is the maximum meat production. This is the maximum potato production of the farmer. And this is the production combination of the farmer. So that yellow line is called production possibility curve, PPC, production possibility curve. Sometimes it is called as production possibility frontier, PPF. Okay. So production possibility curve or production possibility frontier, the thing is same. And remember, this is a special shape of your PPC. This is not the general shape. General PPC is not like that. It is downward sloping. Definitely, it is downward sloping, but it is not a straight line. In general, it is not a straight line. But here, as there is no what can I say? There is no change in marginal productivity and everything. These are I just assume these are constant. These are not there. We don't know what is this. So that is why it is downward sloping straight line. In general, PPC is downward sloping but concave to origin. It's like this, concave. Okay, it's like this. But here we are getting a downward sloping straight line PPC for the farmer and for the rancher as well. Okay, this is the second diagram for the rancher. That green line is for the rancher PPC and that yellow is the PPC of the farmer. Okay, so these are the two diagrams. I'm not explaining these again because the thing is same. It's 48, the maximum amount of potato he can produce. 24 is the maximum ounce of meat he can produce. Okay, so these are the things for the rancher and the farmer. You have their PPC, you have their PPF, production possibility curve or production possibility frontier. Don't worry, we will explain again. We will explain PPC in our production chapter. But for the time being, this is our PPC. Now, if
Ma'am, is there any alphabet A in the yellow line?
yes, I'm going to explain it. I'm just going to explain it.
Okay, ma'am.
Here is A and here is B. A is the point. A is the point where he is spending 4 hours for potato production and remaining 4 hours for meat production. Okay. So 4. Just the midpoint. It is just the midpoint of your PPC. So if 4 hours is spent for the potato production, let me go there. 1 hour, 1 ounce. So 4 hours, 4 ounces of meat. So here comes that 4 ounces of meat. Okay. Now, 15 minutes for one ounce. Okay, so 4 into 60, that means 240. So that means for how many ounce? You will get 16. Okay, so if 4 hours is spent for the meat, then he can produce 4 ounces of meat. If another 4 hour, the remaining 4 hour will spend for potato, then he can produce 16 ounces of potato. So A point is representing this, and similarly for B. Okay. Similarly, B is showing that 12 and 24. The 4 hours for meat, then 24 ounce. 4 hours for potato, then 24 ounce. Okay. So these points are showing just the midpoint. That if you are equally divide your time for both the production, that then how much you can produce. I'm not telling you you have to produce this. No. This is the point where you can produce. Now the thing is, for simplicity, we are assuming that initially the farmer is producing at this point and the rancher is producing at the, because we don't know what will be the situation. So it's better to start from the midpoint. I'm not biased to any of those commodities. That's 50-50 chance. So the farmer is producing here and the rancher is producing here, right? And there is no trade, there is no exchange. Okay. If there is no trade, it is called the autarky situation. Auterky. Okay, autarky. Auterky. Autarky. In economics, it is called autarky. So it is the autarky situation. There is no trade. If there is no trade, that means whatever you have produced, either you have to consume or you have to save. You have to keep. But I am again, by assumption, I am eliminating that saving option. Say there is no scope of saving. There is no scope of taking loan. Nothing is there. So whatever you have produced, you have to consume. The same story for the farmer and for the someone is trying to join. Why this sound is coming? No. Okay. So what I am telling that A, in that case, A is the production and consumption point of the farmer before trade, and B is the production and consumption point of rancher before trade. Tell me, is that diagram clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any query? It is not
Yes, ma'am.
possible. If you have any query, I am just listening 3 or 4 sounds. Anyone else in the class, if you have any query, ask.
Ma'am, point A and point B, can you explain again?
Look, there is a problem. I know, no, it is not possible for all to understand at the same time. Look, A is the point on your PPC. This is the farmer. Na? A is for the farmer. So A point is showing if you are spending 4 hours for meat and 4 hours for potato production, then how much potato and meat you can produce. So you have that table. Just put your 4 hours in that first part of the table. You can find how much of potato and meat you can produce. Okay. This is the story for the farmer and for the rancher. So B is a point where you are spending 50% of your time for meat production and 50% of your time for the potato production. Here also. So now I am telling, say there is no trade and there is no scope of savings. So what to do with your production? And this is your starting point. A and B, this is your starting point of analysis. So what to do with that production? You have to consume. There is no other way. You cannot give it to anyone else because there is no trade. You cannot keep it in your home because there is no scope of savings, no scope of borrowing as well. So what to do with your production? You have to consume. So if I'm telling you this, that means A is the production and the consumption point of the farmer. Similarly, B is the production and consumption point of the rancher. Now tell me your problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Okay. Oh, this is gains from trade. Okay, let me explain that table. Huh? In the next class, I will explain the diagram. But look at the table before. That will explain the gains from trade. Look. So what I said, that production and consumption before trade. Look, the heading without trade. Without trade, that means that autarky. Huh? In the autarky, as I said, my production and consumption point should be same. So I'm just writing those values 4, 16, 12, 24. These are there. Look, 4, 16, 12, 24. So that 50-50 time spending story. Huh? So this is my production and consumption before trade. So this is not a problem. Whatever I am producing, I am consuming. So okay, fine. Now there comes the trade. I am opening the scope for the farmer and rancher to trade. That means they can exchange. And when they are exchanging, they have changed their production. Now you can ask me why. What is the reason behind that? My answer is I will explain in SEM 5. I will explain the reason behind the change of their production combination in SEM 5. But for the time being, let me assume that they have changed their production given the situation. There are some beautiful explanations behind that production pattern change. You have to wait for 2 hours, 2 years. Just a minute. Okay, so they have changed their production. Now, how they have changed? For the farmer has decided that I will not produce meat anymore. Okay, so my production of meat is 0 now. So the total time, that is 8 hours, I will give for the potato production only. So if I'm giving the total time for the potato production, I need 15 minutes to produce 1 ounce. So by 8 hours, I can produce 32 ounce. Okay. So the farmer will produce only potato after trade. Okay. The farmer is producing only potato after trade, and that will be 32 ounce. Rancher, so this is called, look, this is called complete specialization. Because he is producing only one commodity. It is called complete specialization. Okay. Now what is the rancher is doing? Rancher is not doing this. Rancher has changed his time pattern, but he is producing both. He is producing 18 ounce of meat and 12 ounce of potato. It's a combination. Okay. He is not producing that 12, 24. Now it is becoming 18. So meat production has increased. Look, from 12 to 18. And potato production is reduced from 24 to 12. So he has done like this. So he is also specializing. He is also specializing in the production of meat, as he is producing more meat than before. But this is not complete specialization. This is called incomplete specialization. Okay. So for the rancher, it is incomplete specialization. For the farmer, it is complete specialization for production. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what is the difference between complete and incomplete specialization?
Yes, that
Mean to
is what
say,
I am saying. Na? Farmer is producing only one commodity. After trade, he has decided to produce only one commodity. So this is called complete specialization. Either this or that commodity. So this is called
okay,
complete.
if any person specializes in only one community, then
Yes, yes.
okay, ma'am.
And here he is also specializing because he is better off for the meat production. So he's producing more meat. But he is also producing potato as well. Lesser, but still production is there. So it is called incomplete specialization. Both commodities are produced. So this is the
Okay,
production.
ma'am.
Now look, what is the trade? Again, there are reasons behind the trade. I'm not going to explain the reasons, but there is a trade. And what is the trade? Farmer is saying that as I'm not producing a single unit of meat, I need meat to consumption. So for consumption, I need 5 ounces of meat. Who will give? Rancher will give. Huh? So rancher will give 5 ounces to the farmer. Okay. So rancher is giving 5 ounces to the farmer. First exchange. The second step, in exchange of that, farmer is saying, okay, I am producing 32 ounces of potato. Of that, I will give you 15 ounces. So that 15 ounce is taken by the rancher. Okay. So this is another trade. Okay. So rancher is giving 5 ounces of meat to the farmer, and farmer is giving 15 ounces of potato to the rancher. Okay. So this is a barter system. Look, there is no money. One commodity is exchanged for another. Okay, fine. I'm happy with the barter system. Anyway, there is trade. There is trade. So after getting, giving everything, what will happen with the consumption? So now the farmer is consuming 5 ounces of meat. Okay. Initially, before the trade, farmer was consuming 4 ounces. Now the farmer is consuming 5 ounces. So he is gaining. Now he can consume more meat. How much? 1 ounce. So this is increase in consumption of the farmer for meat. What is the case of consumption of potato for the farmer? 32 minus 15, because 15 is given to the rancher. So 32 minus 15, that means 17. He is consuming 17 units of potato now. Before trade, he was consuming 16. So it's again 1 more ounce of potato he can consume. So for the farmer, look, 1, 1. So for both the commodities, he is better off. He can getting more. He can consume more than before. So he is very happy with the trade. What about the rancher? Rancher is giving 5 ounces out of that 18 ounce of his production of meat. So what left? 13. Initially he was consuming 12. So he is getting 1 more for meat. What about the potato? He was producing 12, and from the farmer he is getting 15. So what is the total? 27. Initially he was consuming 24. So in terms of potato, he is getting more, that is plus 3. So look at the last row. For each and every commodity, both the individuals, they are happy because they can consume more than before. So that happiness is called the gains from trade. Why they are getting more? Because they are trading. So as they are trading, they are getting the scope to consume more. This is called gains from trade. That table is very much available in ManQ. Once you open it, you can get it. No issue. The name of the chapter is Interdependence and Gains from Trade. You have different versions of ManQ. So the chapter, now it may be chapter 2, it may be chapter 3. But the name is Interdependence and Gains from Trade, the name of the chapter. You will get that table from this chapter. Okay? Is that table clear to all?
Ma'am, one
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, you just said that the trade portion will be like taught in semester 5. So,
Yes.
then in semester 1, do we have this entire thing? Or just like a mere summary?
Just no. It's just the sort of information. And what
Okay,
is
ma'am.
gains from trade? You can
Okay.
understand now from this table.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can understand how you are changing your production and how you are exchanging, and through exchange how you are gaining.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am. Yeah.
That much is required for SEM 1. But what is gains from trade? At least that much you can say to anybody, na? That okay, gains means after trade, individuals are changing their production pattern, they are exchanging the commodities among themselves, and they are consuming more than before. As
Yes.
they are getting that opportunity to consume more, so this is called gains from trade. That much you can say to anybody, na?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, understood.
That is needed. Thank you,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
when you explained the trade part, means say gets 5 ounce, gives 15 ounce, then
Mm-hmm.
then you used a terminology like that butter system. I can't get it all.
Barter
Can
system means, yes, yes. Barter system means it is the exchange without money. Here, what is happening? Farmer is giving potato and getting, in exchange of that, he is getting meat. The rancher is giving meat, in exchange of that he is getting potato. But in general, when we are getting something from the market, in exchange of that we are giving money, right?
yes,
We
ma'am.
are not giving any commodity. So when the commodities are exchanged in this way, one for another, this is called barter system, the system without money.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Understood.
And that was, if you are going through the history, initially the people were doing this barter system of exchange.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I just
Okay, any other question?
Yes, ma'am, one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, the farmer has complete specialization while the rancher has incomplete specialization. In
Yes.
spite of that, the farmer is also gaining from the trade and the rancher is also gaining from the trade, though the amount they gain is not the same. So, ma'am, why does the rancher need incomplete specialization? Had he also
Yes. No, no, no.
complete specialization, he would also have gained.
Yes, yes. I can understand your problem that you are saying that okay, rancher should go for also the complete specialization in favor of meat.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is true. That is true. That may. But why he is not? Again, it is in SEM 5. Sorry. It is in SEM 5.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Because
ma'am.
actually what the book is trying to give you, the concept of both complete and incomplete specialization, because these are there in reality.
Okay,
Complete
ma'am.
specialization is possible, incomplete specialization is also possible. So manq is trying to give you the flavor of both. But
Okay,
why
ma'am.
there is complete specialization, why there is incomplete specialization, sorry, you have to wait for SEM 5, because it's a long
Okay.
story. And actually, what happened, I'm not saying that it is a long story, time is a constant. Yes, these are there. These are there, but at the same time, the thing is, we need a lot of economics concepts. So, over the time, we will get all those concepts and then you can easily understand the reasons. Otherwise, you cannot understand. I can tell you. I can tell, and I can take one or two extra classes and I can tell you that information. But the thing is, you cannot understand. You need some time to go to that level. Okay? Syllabus is accordingly done. So don't worry. Don't worry. I am just giving you the concept. Whether the concept is clear to you or not, that is the thing for us. Any other question?
ma'am, I have a question in Principle 6. Can I tell you?
Yes.
Ma'am, in the man queue, last paragraph, there is two lines which can't be, I can't understand it, ma'am.
Just read the lines.
This corollary explains why taxes adversely affect the allocation of resources, for they distort prices and thus the decision of households and firms. And this entire paragraph is some confusing now.
As you study, no, no, no. There is an important corollary to the skill of the invisible hand in guiding economic activity. That you are saying, na? When the
Yes,
government
ma'am.
prices from adjusting naturally to supply and demand, it impedes the invisible hand's ability to coordinate
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
households. Yes, make up the economy. This corollary explains why taxes adversely affect the allocation. Yes, I am telling you that generally we didn't, as I said, that we don't need government in general, other than maintaining laws and orders and everything, equity, equality, everything. We don't need. If there is somehow, if there is government, how the government will intervene in the market? Generally, government is intervening by imposing tax, by giving subsidy, by imposing price ceiling, price flooring. These are the instruments in the hand of the government through which government is intervening in the market. And here, at the end of sem 1, we will explain that how when tax is imposed, apparently it's good. When price ceiling is imposed, apparently it is helpful. But for the economy as a whole, it is not helpful. The economy is losing the welfare. A part is there which is sacrificed by either consumer or producer, but which is received by no one for any kind of intervention. Hmm. For any kind of government intervention, there is a part which is not received by anyone. So this is the net loss. And why the net loss? Because the intervention is there. So that is why generally we are saying that we don't need government. Once government is entering, welfare loss is happening. Hmm.
Okay, ma'am. There is a term distort prices. What about that, ma'am?
Distort price means if you are not giving the scope to the price mechanism to work freely, you are just intervening, you are controlling the price. You are saying one cannot give price more than this, one cannot pay price less than this. So you are just distorting the price, you are just disturbing the system. Okay, so that
Okay,
price is
okay.
the artificial price, I should say. This is the artificial price, it is imposed.
Okay, ma'am. And in the next line, it explains the failure of communism. How can it explains the failure of communism, ma'am?
And it explains the if the look just a minute, it also
Okay, ma'am.
explains even greater harm caused by the policies than directly control the price, such as rent control. And it explains the failure. Yes, as I said, if government intervene in this way, there will be a welfare loss. And that is not expected as all. If you are going through the economy as a whole, this is not expected, this is not desired. So that is what it is saying, that it is the failure of the communism. This communism is always talking about the maximized welfare of the society. So once you are allowing that intervention, you are sacrificing that welfare. So that is why it is disturbing your communism.
Okay, ma'am. Understood. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other question?
Yes, ma'am, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, there's a chapter in Bank, probably the second chapter, ma'am, where there are different economic models like the PPC, the circular flow of
Yes,
income,
yes, yes,
role of
yes.
assumptions. So is it there in the syllabus?
No, it is not in the syllabus, but you must go through it because just
Ma'am, that they have drawn the PPC as a concave to the origin.
yes,
Like
that
it
is
is
what I
concave to the
said.
origin, not so
That
ma'am,
is what I
for our examination point of view, we will draw it linear or concave to the origin.
if the question is like that, what is PPC? Draw a PPC, then you must draw it as a concave general share.
Okay.
And once it is for the gains from trade, that rancher farmer example, you must draw it as a linear one.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Linear PPC is a special type of PPC. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, the chapter name "Thinking Like an Economist" is it in
You
syllabus?
from there. No, it is not in your syllabus, but you must go
Okay.
through it because some concepts are there. The production
Yeah.
possibility frontier, the
Mhm.
circular flow, and everything. So these are there. You just read one or two, one or twice of these chapter. The concepts will be clear to you. As I said today that this is called PPC, it is concave to. This is just for 1 or 2 minutes. I said, na. But to know it in details, to remember it, you must go through this chapter, but it is not in the syllabus.
Then there is some diagrams, mean to say the circular flow diagram,
Hmm.
the
Just go
product.
through it. It's very easy. It's very easy. Just look at the diagram and try to understand. It's very easy.
Okay, ma'am. Then I will go through.
Yes. Once I will get the time, I will definitely explain it. Huh? Just remember me at that time. I will explain. Once I will have the time.
Okay,
So yes,
ma'am.
I'm telling you, let me finish my syllabus. Huh? then I will explain everything. But what is needed to complete the syllabus, that I will definitely inform in my class. As I said today, this is called PPC. General shape of PPC is this. My PPC is a special type of PPC, which is a linear one. So that much I will definitely inform in the class, which is needed. But if you need to know it more, you have to read your textbook. Any other question?
Ma'am, is the exam date fixed as like in March?
No, we have not finished our first unit and you are asking about the exam date. You are so fast.
No, ma'am, and the like news was coming ki exam will be held on March 8 to 26, an online exam, offline exam. That's why.